Okay. So today I want to tell you about profit margin. Now, in every business, ride sharing or not, you always have a profit margin. For instance, I buy something for 5,000 naira and I'm selling for 6,500, 7,000. You understand? The difference in percentage is what you call your profit margin. Very good. Profit margin determines just how much of success your business is. Some people spend around, let's say fashion designers, let's say tailors, for instance, people who make ready-to-wear cloth. They spend around 10,000 making a cloth, and then they sell for like as high as 18,000. That's an 80% increase, right? So that's a very, very good profit margin. Some other people, however, spend 10,000 making something or buying something, and they sell for as little as 12,000. That's just 20% in increase. Okay, so the margin is not as great, but it's still good. Okay. By the way, that's how you know a very good business. Businesses with very good margins tends to be the one to go with them. And just as a side note, this is why convenience store, provision stores here, it will work out well for you if you do it in volume, because the profit margin in a provision store is very next to nothing, quite frankly. Okay, if you buy a pack of biscuit, for instance, you need to sell every single thing in that pack before you make a profit. That's how it is. So the margin is very, 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 very small, very, very little. If you buy something from the market for, let's say, 220, you probably sell 250. The margin is very, very small. Okay, so the people who actually make it very well is the people who own big supermarkets and have very, very large inventories. For things like that have very little margins, you want to do it in very, very big volumes. That's how you make very good profit from it. Coming now to our ride sharing industry, what is the margin like? I made an analysis for how our last year went when I was breaking down every income month after month after month, and it looks like a margin continues to circle around 60%. Now this is how you calculate the margin. If you know maths, this is the formula. So you get your revenue, okay? X percentage of your revenue is equal to then your net profits. So basically solve for X. Ultimately, you have yourself, if you do this properly, I'm going to show you on the screen anyway. If you do it properly, you end up having something around 66%, 60%, 61%, but that was by my answers, by the way. Okay, so for you now who probably works more time, more hour, more days, your margin might be different, might be better. I did, and then realized that I always fell within the range of 60 something, both weekly, both monthly, even yearly. No, I didn't do yearly, but ultimately it came around 60 something in terms of profit margin, which is good. That being said, let me explain what 60 something in margin is. It's like if I have 100 naira, if I invest 100 naira in something, I'm going to get back somewhere around 160 naira. So the 60 naira is my profit. So that's what that margin is. So as a ride sharing person, if let me use betting as an instance for people, the puntas, the people who are into betting a lot. The odd they call 1.6. Okay, that's exactly what ride sharing is. See, the difference is that in ride sharing, at least you get to control that, and so you know for a fact that you can get it if you just put in the hours and the work. But in betting, you are hoping that for some miracle, some player is going to do something that will earn you some money. It's crazy, man. But about ride sharing now, I'm saying that it is 60%. And 60% is a very good margin, by the way. So look at it this way. If you make a total revenue of around 100,000 in a week, okay, you should be expecting that your profit for that week is around 60%. And that is the goal for us this year, by the way. Every week we want to make a revenue of 100,000. Every week. So for the month, it's a revenue of around 400,000. And if you look at 60% of 400,000, it will be coming around 240, if I'm not mistaken, yeah? So the profit margin for every month that is acceptable to us, to me, is 240. 60% profit margin giving us 240. Okay? By the way, like I said, it's not very static, because if you look at my number in December, it was around 69% in terms of profit margin. Okay, so sometimes it goes way beyond that. It just depends on your expenditure, how much fuel you have used, and things like that. So those are the determining factor. But on average, I can tell you for a fact, personally, and I believe cutting across most people, their own calculation as well, I think it will come around 60%. Do your own calculation and let us know what you get. If it's around 60%, or by the way, if it's 60, if it's 50, very good margin, very good margin. Okay, so that's what I have for you today. Do your calculation so you understand your margin and know where you need to improve on. Okay, and by the way, if you're not getting a very good margin, at least 60%, that means there's a problem with your work pattern. There's a problem, like let's say if you work on InDrive or Rider, you're picking the wrong trips. You're agreeing to go for very ridiculous prices. I want to talk about Bolt and Uber because they determine the price for you. So if it's InDrive or Rider, you have to do better at picking proper trips and trips that will pay you better, not those nonsense trips. Okay? All right. Bye-bye.